back at the flicks for the first time in nearly a month, and we're watching... I don't really want to say this is a reimagining or a reboot of Godzilla, because they do actually reference the 1954 event of which the original movie is based upon. But the good news is that movie will not be referenced, and the less I say anything about that's a lot of fish, the better. Now, we've got Aaron Taylor Kick-Ass Johnson in this, and to be fair, the guy's raising his profile quite well ever since being in a movie that about John Lennon that predates the Beatles, and his most prominent movie with Kick-Ass. And we've got Bryan Cranston, aka the father from Malcolm in the Middle, aka Heisenberg, a guy who was very much a comic relief actor in the late 90s, and he's suddenly become this huge thing with Breaking Bad as Heisenberg, and now he's playing a prominent lead role in a new movie about Godzilla. What am I going to expect from this? You'll find out in 2 hours. Okay folks, I've just come back from watching Godzilla at the flicks. Now let's get the bare essentials out the way. Is this a good movie? Yes. Is this a huge step above the 98 movie? Oh, unmercifully yes! Is this in line with the old school Godzilla movies? More or less. Now, for those that dislike the 98 movie, hey, it's all good. But I actually liked that design of Godzilla. I can understand from the point of view that people thought it looked too humanistic looking, and, you know, that's fine. For me, I felt the design being more in line with the original was a good start. The Japanese love it, so that's already a good thumbs up. I like the fact that the roar that the creature emits is a tweaked version of the original 1954 sound recording, so that's very good. The only problem I have with Godzilla specifically is that he wasn't used enough. If I'm being honest, Godzilla probably spends less time on screen than his 1998 counterpart did. Story-wise, it's a well-written script. I like the human drama in it. I felt like the pacing was a lot more like a rollerball action movie. The plot kept moving. It didn't slow down at all, which I thought, right, that's very good. I mean, it's nice to have these little pauses in the movie where you're able to breathe and take things in. But this movie never stopped. Which, in essence, for any Hollywood flick, if you're able to keep the audience in suspense, you've got a good movie. Bryan Cranston as Dr. Joe Brody. At least I believe he's the doctor in this. Easily the best performer in this entire movie. Second to Godzilla for the limited amount of time he was on screen. Now, consider the fact that this guy made a name for himself in the late 90s, being the father in Malcolm of the Middle, and then to achieving epic, status with being Heisenberg in the very highly acclaimed series Breaking Bad, to coming onto the scene in a 2014 movie of Godzilla, which is Godzilla's 60th anniversary this year. 60 years, where does it go? Very convincing, very emotional, very, convicting performances. The guy emotes. You feel his emotions. You feel the anguish and the pain that this guy has gone through. And then we come to Ford Brody. Oh my goodness, where do I begin? Now, I like Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I think he's a decent British actor. Some may have their differing opinions, but that's fine. You know, that's all good with me. But I felt he was the weak link in this movie. I've seen stronger acting performances from Kirsten Dunst. And I don't like Kirsten Dunst in any acting capacity, but Aaron Taylor-Johnson was just so flat and wooden in this movie. He just seems to have like this one emotion. I didn't realise Kristen Stewart had spawned a male duplicate. But yeah, was not at all happy with his performance whatsoever. I felt he was just useless and just dragged the movie down. Nah, didn't like it. The second best performer in this movie has to go to Ken Watanabe. Hope I pronounced that correctly, by the way. You see the other perspective from the movie, what he sees from Godzilla, what he represents in the balance of man versus nature, and you do kind of, how should I put this? Do you want the army to take on his perspective, you know, going ahead by going with, you know, more of a nuclear offensive is not the way to go. And he's basically saying, look, give this guy a chance. You know, let him duke it out with this. I like how they used a nice little, you know, an anagram of MUTO being mass unidentifiable terrestrial object, which I thought, okay, you know, it's a nice little play on words there. But yeah, he was easily the second best performer, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor and for Bryan Cranston to get an Oscar as well. Not bad for a guy who used to be a voice actor as a villain on Power Rangers back in the day. It's true. Elle Brody, or Elizabeth Olsen as Elle Brody, and, you know, the lesser known of the Olsen sisters. I thought she was good for the little time she was there. Certainly did more emoting than Johnson did. Which is a real shame, because like I say, fine actor. But Elle Olsen, really good for the amount of time that she was on there. And I never got tired of seeing her. I thought she was a pleasant breath of fresh air, if I'm being completely honest. Visual effects wise, probably the most impressive I have seen of Godzilla to date. If you look at how he was done in 1998, even by today's standards, the visual effects for the creature was well done then. But then again, it was a radical, you know, new design for what they were looking for the creature back then. Whereas this one is kind of old, you know, new school meets old school. And the fact that G-Man is actually a little bit taller in this movie, but it serves the purpose well for the movie for what it was intending to do. The other kaiju, I forget what the name of the creature is, but very photorealistic. I like the fact that it almost looks like it could walk off the screen and into real life, and the same could be said for Godzilla. And special effects, Warner Brothers are not really ones to be less than impressive with special effects, as they tend to be almost starving perfectionists when it comes to dealing with that aspect of the side of movies. I mean, you need only look at something like Batman Begins or The Dark Knight for special effects, and you're just wowed by them. Well, I've not seen anything of Gareth Edwards' work beforehand to give an opinion for what I could compare it with, but for this movie, I think he did a decent job just to make us forget about the '98 movie, and that's a lot of fish. I really don't know why people make a huge deal out of that, but, you know, it's not a huge thing. Like I say, reasonably good enough pacing. Writing is... it's satisfiable. It's a lot better... it's a lot more compellingly written than the '98 movie. I know it sounds like I'm bashing on it a little bit, but that movie was flawed when you think about it. The main weak point I'm going to say is the movie could have done with more screen time for Godzilla. I just felt like we were being teased for the most part. I mean, I enjoyed previous Godzilla movies, and yes, I will concede that even in the old school versions of the character, he didn't have as much screen time as the human characters, but even then he had more screen time than this flick. So, to surmise it up in a nutshell, do I recommend this movie? Yes, I do. Would I recommend this movie, say, over Captain America: The Winter Soldier, or anything else that's playing at the time, currently? I'd say it depends on what your allegiance as a Godzilla fan. If you're a die-hard Godzilla fan, you will love this. If you're a casual moviegoer, and if you're a casual moviegoer and you're not really that huge on Godzilla, but you're curious, then by all means give it a look. But if you're not really a fan of the idea of the character not being used to his fullest, then I would say give it a miss. But I'm going to give this a very modest, good flick bargain. It's not terrible, it's not overly amazing, it's just very satisfiable. I got what I was looking for, but I felt that there was need for improvement, in my honest opinion. Like I say, I'm not bashing the movie, I'm just being objective. And word is that they're working on a second movie, and I'm hoping what they do for the sequel is give us more of Godzilla versus the Mutos, because that's what we pay to see. Like I say, I enjoyed this movie, but there was room for improvement. Until next time, I've been MJ Knight, and this has been Real Features.